So many of us have heard the myth, just wait until menopause, your fibroids will shrink. But here's the truth. Menopause doesn't magically fix fibroids. And unfortunately, a lot of our sisters are finding this out right now as I speak. If the root causes are still driving them, fibroids can stick around after menopause, calcify, and even continue to cause life-interrupting symptoms. And today, I'm going to debunk this myth and break down why this can happen. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Glampreezy. If you're new here, hey girl, hey. I'm a two-time fibroid fighter turned women's health advocate and fibroid wellness creator right here on YouTube. I make videos about all things fibroids and more specifically about how I shrank and managed my own fibroids naturally after I was told it wasn't possible. If this sounds like what you need in your life, please join the family by subscribing to my channel. Also, if fibroids and fibroid awareness is important to you, like this video and leave a comment down below. It really helps the YouTube algorithm recognize that this topic is important to the women who are searching for it. And finally, if you are a loyal subscriber and a family member here, you know I love you, right? I could not build this community and spread awareness about fibroids without each and every one of you. So come on in, let's get into this. So jumping right into this topic, let's talk about where this myth came from in the first place. The idea that fibroids will shrink after menopause came from the concept that lower estrogen levels after menopause can reduce growth rate. But that doesn't mean that everyone's fibroids shrink after menopause. Obviously, a lot of you are experiencing that right now. In fact, recent science has acknowledged that fibroids don't always resolve post-menopause and can persist with growth under certain conditions and continue to be symptomatic. And another very shocking finding during my research on this topic is that not only is this myth untrue, but fibroid activity can persist longer in some women of color, even as hormone levels begin to decline. Yeah. Let's dive deeper into this. African American women and white women have similar fibroid growth rates up to about age 35. But after 35, growth rates decline in white women while they remain steady or higher in African American women, according to this study. This is mind-blowing, right? Now, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I believe that this is due to higher rates of vitamin D deficiency amongst African American women. Vitamin D deficiency is one of the most documented links between fibroid prevalence and race. Side note, and don't tell nobody I told you this, vitamin D is incredibly anti-inflammatory and it acts as a hormone modulator in the body. So this study would make sense to me, given this information. So here's where it gets interesting. You're going to want to sit down and really take this in. Fibroids are driven by more than just ovarian estrogen production. Yes. As I've said in my past videos, and I maintain, fibroids are influenced by things like chronic inflammation, poor estrogen metabolism and clearance, which leads to estrogen recirculation. If you want to know more about that, check out this video right here. Stress, metabolic dysfunction, and even after menopause, when traditional estrogen levels drop, meaning estrogen from the ovaries, persistent metabolic and inflammatory stress, including insulin resistance and higher body fat, can still feed fibroids through non-ovarian pathways. I'm not gonna lie, you might want to run that back and hear it again. So let's dig in deeper. Even after menopause, the body still can make estrogen, mainly in fat tissue or adipose tissue. A large study found that postmenopausal women with obesity had twice the risk of fibroids, even without hormone therapy, which we'll talk about in just a moment. I have a video on this already. Shocking, I know, right? I told y'all I've covered almost everything on this channel. You just got to look. Go ahead and check out this video for more information about how this works. But let's talk about it a little bit more in this video for your understanding and context as it relates to menopause. Extra body fat creates a higher estrogen environment through peripheral conversion, which can stop fibroids from shrinking and even keep them growing after menopause. And just to clarify, because of course I'm a woman also, and I know that we can be very sensitive on the topic of weight, but I really want to put this into perspective as far as weight goes. Defined by the World Health Organization, obesity is a body mass index of greater than 30 kilograms. And just to give you an idea, my own BMI or body mass index is 28.9. And this puts me very close to the range of being obese. And before we get all in an uproar about that, because I know I don't see it either, this science is more about body fat composition and body fat percentage and where we carry it more than your actual weight number or your BMI. And even if those numbers are high, you're beautiful, by the way, every ounce of you. It is important for us to understand that the more body fat, the more estrogen it can produce, even post-menopause. So in essence, it's more about metabolic activity than it is about I'm fat or I'm not fat. You see what I mean? Wow. Let's get into HRT for a moment, or hormone replacement therapy. And for my ladies that are thinking to themselves, I'm on bioidentical HRT. Doesn't that matter? In this sense, not so much. I'm sorry, sis. HRT can maintain fibroid stimulation in some postmenopausal women. HRT can pose several issues here postmenopause. The first is exactly what I just said. The hormones in HRT can stimulate fibroid growth. It can reactivate or increase fibroid size, especially when estrogen levels rise in the body. The second issue it poses, though, is very interesting. A study published in the Journal of Endocrinology and Metabolism found that postmenopausal women on HRT had a 4 to 7-fold higher concentration of estrogen in their subcutaneous and visceral fat. And as I explained before in the video, body fat, especially visceral fat or abdominal fat, has a lot to do with estrogen production in the body post-menopause. So when HRT is added to that environment, it can further increase estrogen exposure, which may contribute to fibroid persistence and activation. I'm telling y'all, science is so intriguing when you really get into it. And let's not forget degeneration or calcification in particular. Some fibroids calcify or harden instead of shrinking during menopause, still causing bloating, pressure, and pain. When calcification happens, the fibroid has essentially stopped growing and is frozen in the state that it was in when it started calcifying. So instead of shrinking or disappearing, it's just a hardened mass as calcium builds up within the tissue. This process is called degenerative calcification, and it's more common after menopause, when blood flow to the fibroid decreases due to that drop in ovarian estrogen. And even though these fibroids are considered inactive, they can still press on nearby organs like the bladder or bowels, leading to symptoms that feel very similar to active fibroids. And of course, I already have a video on calcified fibroids. If you haven't seen it already, go over and check it out. I tell y'all all the time, please check out my channel homepage. I have so many videos covering all kinds of topics on the subject of fibroids. And this topic is so much more layered than what I could fit into today's video, because y'all hate when I do long videos. I'm trying, y'all, I'm trying, but this is a lot of information and you need a lot of context and facts to take away the real message from some of these videos. So naturally, on this topic, I'm writing a deep dive article on fibroids after menopause for my Substack membership. If it's not already up by the time this video is uploaded, it will be up in the next week with even more insights into this topic and some natural solutions to focus on. So join my Substack membership if you're interested in deep dive articles on the topic of fibroids and all the things related. I will leave the link down below in the description bar for you so you can go right to my Substack and join. I do have a monthly membership and a yearly membership, whichever works best for you. So the key takeaway here is that you can't wait your way to healing fibroids and your reproductive health. As I've said before, the health of our uterus and our hormones is very indicative of our overall health as women. And that's exemplified in the case of menopause. We've all been conditioned to think that our uterus serves no purpose other than having babies. And that's also a myth for another day. The goal is to create an environment where your unique female body can thrive health-wise, and that involves your hormone health and reproductive health. Everything is connected, ladies. Your hormones, your liver, your gut, your nervous system, your mental health. If they don't have the proper environment via diet and lifestyle, they can't do their job properly, especially as it relates to aging. And they will cause hell, as seen here. It's so important that we support our bodies with targeted support for our reproductive health before and after menopause, with things like inflammation control via nutrient density, anti-inflammatory foods and supplements, proper amounts of PFF, protein, fat, and fiber, movement and rest balance. And speaking of movement, weights are amazing for this stage of life. Nothing crazy, just enough to challenge yourself. And after reading all of the studies and being living proof of what fitness and moving my body can do, I think it's best to incorporate this as soon as possible on your journey for your long-term health. And there are studies that back how lifting weights support your female health as you get older. I think we hear these messages when we're younger and we just bypass it because we're young and we really don't understand the changes that happen in life. And also because society hasn't done a great job of highlighting this stage of life and being transparent about the reality of what happens to our body when we go through this. Menopause is really having its moment right now, as is perimenopause, which is going to be next on my list. You know I haven't forgotten about y'all. I just wanted to say that because I feel like if you are younger watching this video, please listen to me. Taking care of your health now is going to help you in the long run, especially as it relates to your fibroids. Tackle the root causes now. Do not wait. And moving on with this list, because I got ahead of myself here, stress management and nervous system regulation, really important here. Supporting metabolic health and blood sugar management. So important that we are looking at our blood sugar, ladies, because insulin also acts as a growth factor in the body, but we're not going to get on that today. And by the way, if you haven't seen my video on blood sugar, you need to see it, like immediately. Supporting detox pathways, major. Replenishing nutrient deficiencies, which I've been talking a lot about lately. There are so many pieces to this puzzle that we're not looking at when it comes to our whole health and fibroids. Chronic deficiencies not only contribute to our symptoms, but they contribute to inflammation and other dysfunctions such as metabolic dysfunction that exacerbate this entire thing. If you never learned anything from me, please remember fibroids are a symptom, ladies, and the root causes are not always addressed by the mere reduction of estrogen from our ovaries. That's why I encourage you ladies to get on top of your hormone and reproductive health now, because these issues don't just go away, especially as you head into perimenopause. Trust and believe me, you do not want to go into perimenopause with hormone imbalance issues and inflammation issues and gut issues and blood sugar issues. Trust me, it will take your entire life down. If you're interested in more info on this topic and natural solutions, head over to my Substack and become a member, sis. I will be posting deep dive articles full with resources for managing this naturally. And as we go on through the fall months, I will be adding more articles about perimenopause as well. And if you specifically need a video on perimenopause, please comment down below so that I know that you guys are actually interested in this, because I think you are, but I need confirmation. Let me know down down below and I'll make sure to get that out for you. Be sure to share this video with a sister, auntie, cousin, friend, coworker who's been told this myth to wait it out until menopause. And make sure that you join the family by subscribing to my channel. If this video was helpful and you learned anything, please give it a thumbs up and comment down below on what you learned or what your experience is with fibroids and menopause. And on your way out, make sure that you check out another video. I make these videos just for you guys so you can learn more about the topic of fibroids and natural healing. I love you, ladies, and I can't wait to see you in another video.